It's really repetitive, always having to listen to Eggman's entire speech like this every single time you go to this level with a certain team.
If you want to fight, you've got one. Let's get that loaded.
See, I like that. That's Amy being sassy and spunky and badass. This is how Amy should be, not, oh, I'm a stalker. Look at me being a comedy relief character. The background looks pretty realistic. It looks like it's one of the many Dreamcast era Sonic levels that look like it has a background that's literally a real life photo. I don't mind it. Although I guess in hindsight it might be a little weird, because later games don't do that because they have better graphics. I don't really see the point of trying to have really good graphics for a background, but it looks pretty good. I had some problems with this level when I first played it, which is with Team Rose. I died a lot, so it ended up being pretty aggravating, even though it is a pretty fun level and I liked it a lot with Team Sonic. This is the first time when I was expected to arbitrarily destroy cannons to find switches to activate fans first. Overly complicated much? Why can't why can't the fan just be activated as soon as I walk up to it? Why do I have to have the pace broken? Why can't I just walk up to it? And it also sucks when you have to activate fans with switches twice in a row, because that breaks the flow. It'd be better to just fly up to one and then fly up to another. This is bullshit. There shouldn't be a bottomless pit there. Yeah. As I said, I died a lot here. I don't see the point of having to jump over these yellow and black things. What purpose do they serve the level design? They're not making the level more fun. Like, you can't immediately just run straight ahead to the goal ring because you have to jump over those things to get to it. I don't really see the point. The level also has one instance where you run into a row of springs that's directly before a rail, and so you want to run directly onto that rail, but you can't because the springs will basically launch you upwards, and that wastes a whole bunch of your time, so you have to actually jump over them. It's just very pointless. And obviously you can see how awkward it is trying to fight these things. Did I just steal 5 hit points of damage at once? How did I do that? Like, one of my complaints with the power type is that it doesn't really seem to deal that much more damage than the speed type. But randomly I did 5 hit points there. So do I deal a terrible amount of damage or not? This game marked the first time Crush 40 recorded more than one song for the game. It recorded Sonic Heroes and What Am I Made Of? See? That's the row of springs I'm talking about right before a grind rail. What's the point of that? If anything, it's detrimental because it just wastes your time, launch you upwards for no good reason. The springs in this game don't even launch you that high, even though they're red springs. So what's the point of having a spring be red if you're not going to get launched up by them very fast? This propeller section is entirely automated for Team Rose. I mean, you can control it if you want. You can go up and down. Like, you can only go in 2 directions with these things. So it's basically like a 2D section. I mean, you're even in a 2D perspective. That combined with the boosts in the special stages and Heroes actually did a lot of foreshadowing when you think about it. But yeah, this is all just about, it's just an automated thing. Which makes sense, it's the easy mode. The F rank was actually going to be in this game, but it was scrapped later on. Maybe you were going to get it by going into a goal ring and seeing chaotic without being the actual mission? That's the only explanation I could think of. Because E rank, like, that's usually the lowest rank you can get, because F rank would imply that you actually failed And you can't really fail unless you lose all your lives somehow. And at that point, giving an F rate would just feel like overkill. See, I was flying over that fan there. I don't understand why you can't fly over fans with a flying type. That would be so much less complicated. It would be one less thing that you have to learn. In the Japanese version of the game, the lip syncing really sucks because the pre-rendered cutscenes were actually made with English in mind, which would become the series standard. Before, the cutscenes of 3D Sonic were designed with Japanese in mind, even though Sonic appeals to Americans. And see, I died there because I ran into lasers and I got knocked into more lasers, and apparently invincibility frames are a myth because I died during my stun animation. Just like I did with the stupid giant robot. And the most annoying thing about that death was when Cream dies, she goes, "That's not very nice." I get it, she's a little girl. Also, I couldn't really see where the camera was sending me into that tornado pole. That's what really matters since it's entirely scripted to send you into the next tornado pole anyways. So it doesn't really matter all that much. I like how you can immediately grab back onto a tornado pole after accidentally jumping off it.
Alright!
Like, that's really convenient. There's one line that Cream says, I think it's during a propeller ride, that I found to be actually genuinely funny. It was basically, they were commenting on how Eggman built a lot of ships, and Cream said, maybe he just had a lot of time on his hands. See, that's how you do it right, Colors. That's how you have a character in a fictional universe say witty things about how weird the fictional universe can be. Because that way it sounds like you're embracing the universe rather than going, oh, how weird and dumb that is. I can't believe that I'm only questioning this now. See, this is the big problem with this level right from the start. A lot of times you're expected to land on grind rails manually, and it's better to just rotate the camera, because like it really sucks when your first death into the level is really close to the beginning of it. Like, you're expected a lot of times in this level to land on grind rails manually, like moving the control stick to do so, and obviously from the very beginning it didn't really look like it had the best camera angle for that. And when you're not playing with an infinite flight code, which is the normal way to play, for some reason, I think that it's easy to think that you're going to fly a lot farther than you do. Because again, the flight meter is not in a very obvious place. You're not going to be paying attention to the flight meter. You're going to be paying attention to your character trying to land on the platform. So there might as well not be a flight meter at all. I'm always surprised when the flight meter runs out and I end up falling. So you always overestimate how far you can fly. And a level that's so flying heavy like this one, that's a big problem. I feel like the flight meter runs down way too fast. I mean, look at that, that's ridiculous. Even for Team Easy mode. And like, this is a level that requires a lot of flying. This is a level that I really benefit from the infinite flight code in. To the point where I'm not really sure how to beat it with the later teams without it. Because sometimes it requires you to triangle jump on walls with moving lasers on it. How are you expected to do that? Won't the lasers just be guaranteed to hit you? Because they move up and down so fast, and you're very vulnerable while stuck on a wall. And it's not like you can wait for the laser to go up or go down, because the laser will just... because you'll fall off the wall if you wait for too long. And you don't know how long you can wait. Again, like, this is, I don't see the point of having a circular grind rail that just sends you in a circle. It's kind of pointless. I like how earlier there you saw hearts in Amy's animation. Like, that's consistent with earlier games like SA2 Multiplayer, where she sent a bunch of hearts at you. I guess her infatuation with Sonic gives her her strength. There's heavy weights in the game that can squish characters, putting them on commission. The characters would have said certain cut lines, but instead they just end up saying, "I'm stuck" lines used for the capture robots. There's cut lines that would have played for when you reunited with those characters at a checkpoint. The squish lines are probably considered to be way too scary. The reuniting lines were either worried sounding or snarky sounding. There's also cut lines about an Omochao gate meant to be opened by talking to or using a nearby Omochao. Basically, Vector says at one point, "Looks like a key won't open this gate. Maybe that Chow has something to do with it." Why would he think that Omochao is an actual Chow? He's clearly made of metal and has eyes like a Chaos Chow, with the lack of emotion and everything. Yeah, and again, like this is supposed. I somehow managed to activate it the wrong way. They really should tell you in easy mode how you're supposed to deal with these switches. How you're supposed to know that you need to be in the flight formation to drop your partners off on them. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're expected to manually land and aim yourself on grind rails when sometimes you have a diagonal camera angle that isn't really right for that. I think stuff like this should be a lot more scripted. There are cut alternate lines for when a character is captured by a Klagan robot. What kind of a name is that? And there's lines for when a golden Klagan takes them away. Instead, they say another "let me go" line. And when a golden Klagan is leaving, no one says anything. So from this I'm seeing that there's actually, they originally planned to have the characters talk even more in the levels than they end up doing. There are 5 cut taunts from Eggman, including a custom one for each team. The first one cuts off, and fans had to dig into the game's code to find the rest. One taunt has Eggman say, "Without me, Team Dark is nothing but a bunch of balloons." Even though he's not helping Team Dark. Wouldn't it make more sense for him to say that about the Chaotix? Did they change the story at one point? I mean, it would make sense. Team Dark is, the whole appeal of Team Dark is that it's supposed to be the evil team, the equivalent to the Dark story in SA2. Just like how this game has a time limit that is kind of haphazardly done. And just like how this game has character battles just for the sake of it because the Adventure Games had it, this game has a Dark story just for the sake of it because the Adventure Game had it. Like, Team Dark is not like this Dark story because Team Dark is not a villain team. It's an anti-hero team. They're not doing anything evil. Even though they look evil.
I'll show you what real evil is. Impossible!
Gets me every time. And again, it's really satisfying considering how this boss is annoying as shit. Unused lines hint that at one point in development, if your opponent lost one of their characters in team battles, they wouldn't be able to use Team Blast against you. In the final game, when Team Blast is used, all fallen teammates on that team will rejoin the battle. So does this imply that at one point they were going to make it so that you can't use Team Blast if you don't have all of your characters at once? That would have been pretty annoying, but it wouldn't make sense. Okay, so did Metal Sonic return them to them just to be nice? Why is he saying that right in front of them? How can they not hear them? And Chocola was never seen again. Why did they make a brown Chow? It looks like shit. I mean, it looks like it's made of chocolate, and I guess the point, but she looks like she's running so slowly there, like extremely slowly. But she runs just as fast as Sonic in the actual game. How could she have beaten the levels in canon if she was that slow? And again, how did Metal Sonic get that picture of him taken as Sonic? Like, why did he... Like, I know that the whole point of him capturing Chocola is because Chow are related to Chaos. Like, something that for some reason they didn't tell you in Sonic Adventure is that Chaos is actually a mutated Chow. I don't know how he got mutated. Maybe it was the Master Emerald deciding to make him a god of destruction for no reason. But yeah, Chaos is a mutated Chow, so So Metal Sonic wants to become as powerful as Chaos to fight Sonic, because he doesn't think he can win otherwise. And so he copies the data of the Chow. And Froggy used to be part of Chaos because of Sonic Adventure, because Chaos possessed him so that he could reunite with the rest of Chaos' body through Froggy. It was really stupid. And so, it makes sense that Metal Sonic kidnapped Froggy and Chocola when you think of it like that. And he obviously says Chaos data has been copied, so that's the whole point of it. But the problem is that, well, I don't understand why he waited that long to return Chocola and Froggy to them. And why he waited that long to copy the Chaos data if he had Chocola and Froggy with him so long. He's been such an idiot. Why couldn't he just, like, get Chocola and Froggy, immediately use them for what he wants, and then immediately return them? Instead, he had the joke team running after him the whole game because he decided to keep Chocola and Froggy with him for no reason for a long time. It's also confusing about how every team fights a boss, and an identical copy of the boss that all the other teams fight at that. So what, is is Metal Sonic in his Eggman form fighting 4 teams at once every single time there's a boss fight? That must be pretty overwhelming, and it makes you wonder why they don't all see each other. Like, are there 4 separate arenas that are all identical to each other, sort of? But yeah, that was Team Rose. Team Rose is the easy mode, which means that it's shorter and has less combat, which is, for a lot of people, how the game should have been to begin with. And I agree with that. I mean, I can get used to the longer levels of Team Sonic, but I don't think that combat belongs to Sonic game when it's, by definition, supposed to be a fast-paced game, and combat isn't fast-paced, it's forcing you to stop. So I think what they should have done is, well, just have different level design for each level depending on the team, and cut the level into chunks. So every level lasts at most 5 minutes long, no matter what team you are. And like, Team Rose would have completely different level design. Team Dark would have completely different level design. Same goes for Team Chaotix. Well, not necessarily, because they have a completely different thing going on. Like, imagine that there was a 10-minute long level. Imagine you cut that into chunks, and the beginning part would be for Team Rose, and the middle part would be for Team Sonic, and the end part would be for Team Dark. It'll get progressively harder as it goes on. So, there you go. That would be an easy solution.